Hello everyone, welcome to the new session of Principle of Cattle Housing Part 2. So in this session we are going to study about the conventional barns. So in this system of housing, the animals are confined together on a platform and secured at neck by the sanctions or the neck chain. So here the animals are or the cattle are not allowed to roam here and there. They are not free. Okay, so they are secured at a platform by sanctions or neck chain. Okay, so the animals are fed as well as milked in the same barn. So their animals are fixed at one particular point and they are fed at that point also, and they are milked at that point also, right? So this is the difference between the loose housing and the conventional barns. These barns are completely covered with the roof and the side walls are closed with windows or ventilator located at suitable places to get more ventilation and lighting. So here the barns are completely covered. It is totally covered with roof. Okay, they are not open as in the case of loose housing. Okay, and the side walls are closed with windows. Side walls are totally closed, but there are windows so that there must be a proper ventilator, okay, at suitable places to get proper air and light. It is applicable for the temperate and heavy rainfall regions. So it will be difficult to the animals, right, when there is a heavy rainfall, so they can be protected in the conventional barns. And even in the temperate region, when there is a lot of cold, then also they can get a proper protection. So these type of barns are made where in the temperate region, and the place where when there is a heavy rainfall, the places where heavy rainfall. So at that particular places we can make conventional barns. The same type of housing can be utilized for the tropical region with slight modification. We can bring this type of housing in the tropical region as well as with certain modifications. The conventional dairy barns are comparatively costly and are now becoming less popular day by day. We require a lot of money, a lot of capital to construct a roof, a wall, permanent, right? So they require a lot of money. So that is why they are less popular day by day. However, by this system, cattle are more protected from the adverse climatic condition. But this system, that is the conventional dairy barn, in this particular system, cattle are more protected from the adverse climatic condition. This is the advantage of this type of housing facility to the cattle. So here we can see the double row cow shed cross section. Okay, so here we can see this is a type of housing. We can have a proper wall both the side and a proper roofing facility, right? And this is made at the heavy rain area. So when there is a heavy rain, the rain can go down from this. So that is why it is in such a roof type. Okay, so we are having manger, where a place where cattle can eat and drink. The following barns are generally needed for the proper housing of the different classes. Dairy stock in the farm, cow houses or shed. We made in this type of housing facility, we made a certain block, right? Block for the cow houses or the shed, block for the calving box, isolation box, shed for the young stocks, and bull or the bullock sheds. So we are making different types of sheds as our requirement. So let us discuss one by one the calving box. The first one. Allowing cows to calve in the milking cowshed is highly undesirable. So it is undesirable that to have a calf in the milking cowshed at the time of milking, right? So it is objectionable, so that we are keeping this cow in another block. It leads to insanity in milk production and spread of diseases like contagious abortion in the herd even. So when there is living a lot of animals along with their calves, then there is a chances of spreading disease, right? And sanitary in the milk production we cannot keep, right? So we want a calving box for that. Special accommodation in the form of loose box enclosed from all sides with the door should be furnished to all parturient cows. So when there is a time of giving birth, right, to the calves, so at that particular time we take these cows to a different box, and there they can give birth to the calf, right? So it should be have an area of about 100 to 150 square feet with a sample soft bedding. It should be provided with the sufficient ventilation through windows and ridge vents. So there should be a proper ventilation so that they can be light and air, right? Isolation box. Animals suffering from the infectious disease must be segregated soon from the rest of the herd, so that we can protect our other cattle. It should not spread to all the cattle. So at that, keeping this in mind, we must keep the infectious disease or the cattle that got infected with a disease, it should be kept isolated, right? So we are keeping an isolation box for that. Loose boxes of about 150 square feet are very suitable for this purpose. So they should be suited at some distance from the other barns. Every isolation box should be self-contained and should have a separate connection to the drainage disposal. So there must be a proper feeding and proper drainage system, proper watering system, okay, so that they can get their feeding and drinking facility, right? Isolation box means, it doesn't mean that we are keeping the animals away and we are not providing them a proper food and water. There must be a proper food, there must be a proper water facility, right? There must be a proper sanitation even, and proper medication to those animals, those infected animals. Our motto is just to keep the infectious disease away, and the cattle which got infected, unless it become cured, we must keep them away. Just for that, we are having isolation boxes. Shed for young stock. Calves should never be accommodated with the adult in the cow shed. So we are having a different shed for the young stock, that is the calves. So they are not allowed to be accommodated with the adults, otherwise it will be a very crowded. So the calf house must have a provision for daylight ventilation and the proper drainage system. So there must be a proper drainage system, right? So that their dung or their urination could be easily get cleaned out. The calf house must be having proper daylight, proper fooding, proper watering facility. Damp and ill-drained floors cause respiratory trouble in the calves, to which they are susceptible. So the wall should not be damp, the floor should not be damp, right? And ill-drained floors are not allowed. For an efficient management and housing, the young stock should be divided into 3 groups. All the young stock should not be kept together, okay? It has 3 groups. We should divide it in 3 groups: young calves, age tip 1-2 year bull calves and female calves. So there must be female calves, there must be bull calves, and there must be young calves at the age up to 1 year, right? So all these three groups must be kept separate. Each group should be sheltered in the separate calf house or calf shed. So there should be proper shelter, proper sanitation to all these three groups. As far as possible, the shed for the young calf should be quite close to the cow shed so that they can, whenever there is needed, they can reach to their mother whenever there is required. So this is the purpose. Bull or bullock shed. So safety and ease in handling, a comfortable shed protection from the weather, and a provision for exercise are the key points while planning accommodation for the bulls and bullocks. So there should be a proper separate bull and bullock sheds so that they can do their exercise, right? And they can be safety to the other female and the young calves. A bull should never be kept in the confinement, particularly on the hard floors. They should not be kept at the hard floors. Such a confinement without adequate exercise lead to overgrowth of the hooves, creating difficulty in mounting and loss of the breeding power of the bull. So there can be problem in their hooves. Okay, so they should always be kept they should not be kept on the hard floors. The floor should be soft or the muddy, right? A loose box with rough cement concrete floor of about 15 feet by 10 feet in dimensions, having an adequate arrangement of light and ventilation. So there should be proper light and ventilation to these boxes for the bull or bullocks, right? And the floor must be a rough cement concrete. That is not a floor with a proper cement. It should be a rough cement concrete floor of about 15 feet to 10 feet in dimension and having adequate arrangement of the light and ventilation. The entrance must be 15 feet in width. The entrance must be 4 feet in width and 7 feet in height and will make a comfortable housing for the bull. The shed should have a manger and a water trough. So there should be a proper manger for the feeding to these bull or bullocks and proper water trough also. So what are the advantages of the conventional bar? These bars are having a lot of advantages. Let us see. The animals and the men caring for the animals are less exposed to harsh environment. So we are able to keep our animals or the cattle away from the harsh environment, as these conventional barns are made where there is a lot of rain and there is a lot of cold. So for keeping away from these harsh environment to our cattle, we are making conventional barns. The animals can be kept clean. In this way, we can keep our animals clean because we are keeping each and every place clean, right? So the animals are also clean in that way. Disease are better controlled. We are keeping the diseased animal in a separate block, right? So spreading of the disease is not possible. So the disease are better controlled in this type of conventional barns. Individual care can be taken. We can take care of individual cattle because they are chained at one particular place. Separate milking barn is not required. We do not require a separate milking barn because at that place only where they are chained, we can do the milking process. But there are some disadvantages also. Cost of construction is more. So such type of conventional barns require a lot of capital. Future expansion is difficult because we are not having so much land. Not suitable for hot and humid climatic condition because it is always closed from all the sides. So the animals, the keeping the cattle in hot and humid climatic condition with such type of barns is not suitable. Single row system. In single row system, 12 to 16 numbers of animals can be kept. So in one single row, we can keep 12 to 16 number of animals. Double row system. So if it is greater than 16, then the double row system can be followed, and it is preferable even. Okay. So when there is a greater than this, we can follow the double row system. In a double row system, up to 50 animals can be maintained in a single shed. In a single shed, we can maintain 50 number of animals. The distance between the two sheds should be greater than 30 feet, or it should be twice the height of the building. In a double row system, the two methods are available. They are tail to tail or face to out method, or head to head or face in method. So these are the two different methods while following the double row system. Advantage of tail to tail system. Cleaning and milking of the animals is easy. In this particular system, we can keep our cattle house quite easy to clean, and milking process is also very easy. Supervision of milking is also easy. Less chance of transmission of disease from animals to animal, because in this way animals are quite away. They are kept away in tail to tail system. Animals can get more fresh air from the outside. From the outside, animal can get more fresh air. So this is one of the advantages of the tail to tail system. Advantages of head to head system. Getting animals into the shed is easy. Feeding of animals is also easy in head to head system. Disinfection of gutter will be more due to the direct fall of sun rays over the gutter, and animals are better exhibited to the visitors. But there are some disadvantages to the head-to-head system, that is, milking supervision is difficult. In tail-to-tail it is easy, but in head-to-head it is difficult. Possibilities of transmission of disease are more in the case of head-to-head, whereas in the tail-to-tail it is transmission of disease is not so frequent. Cleaning of animal shed. Now this is one of the very important aspect. We must clean our animal shed. The easy and quick method for the cleaning animal house is with the liberal use of tap water, proper lifting and dispose of all the dungs, and use straw bedding, providing drainage to the animal house for complete removal of liquid waste and urine. So proper sanitation must be there, and for that we require a lot of water, right? A proper tap water facility, proper lifting and dispose of all the dungs from and used straw bedding must be provided, providing drainage to the animal house and complete removal of liquid waste and urine, otherwise they can spread diseases. So the cleaning of the animal shed is one of the very important aspects. The daily removal of feed and fodder left over in the manger reduces the fly nuisance. So when there is a feeding and when there is a left of fodder, okay, in the manger, then it can create a fly nuisance, right? So that should be avoided. Cleaning of animals shed. Periodical cleaning of water through the eliminates the growth of algae, bacterial and viral contamination, and thus keep the animals healthy. So this is also because When we keep the water for a longer duration time, there may be chances of development of the algae or the bacterial or the viral colonies. So if we want to keep them away, periodical cleaning of water is an important aspect. Sanitation in the dairy farm. Sanitation is necessary in the dairy farm houses for eliminations of all microorganisms that are capable of causing disease in the animals. So if we want to keep our cattle away from the diseases, proper sanitation must be followed, right? Sanitation in the dairy farm. The presence of organisms in the animal's shed contaminates the milk produced, thus reducing its shelf life. So if the microorganisms are present in our dairy farm, then they can contaminate the milk and it reduces the shelf life of the milk even. And even sometimes it can transmit disease which even affect to the human health because of the consumption of such milk. So the dry flooring keeps the house dry and protect from the food injury. So this is a very common type of disease in the animals, that is food injury, right? So we must keep the dry flooring. Similarly, the presence of flies and other insects in the dairy farm area are not only disturb the animals but also spread deadly disease in the animals' egg. That is babesiosis and theileriosis. These are the two very common diseases that are spread by the flies. So these flies should always be kept away in the dairy farm houses. Sanitizers. Sunlight is the most potent and the powerful sanitizer which destroy most of the disease producing organism. Okay, so disinfection of the animal shed, meaning making these free from the disease producing bacteria, and is mainly carried out by sprinkling chemical agents such as bleaching powder, iodine, iodophor, sodium carbonate, washing soda, or slaked lime, that is calcium hydroxide. Quick lime can also be used, that is called calcium oxide, and phenol. So these are the sanitizer chemicals and that can be used to keep our cattle house in a proper way. Bleaching powder. Let us discuss some of the chemicals that are used for keeping our cattle house clean. So this is also called as the calcium hypochlorite. It contains 39% available chlorine which has a high disinfecting activity. They can kill lots of microorganisms. Okay, so that is having the disinfecting activity. Iodine or iodophor. This is commercially available as a iodophor and contains between 1 to 2% available iodine, which is effective germicide. So it can also be used to kill the germs. Sodium carbonate. A hot 4% solution of washing soda is a powerful disinfectant against many viruses and certain bacteria. So we can use sodium carbonate. Slaked lime and quick lime. Whitewashing with these agents, making the walls of the sheds and the water troughs free from the bacteria. So if we are using slaked lime or quick lime to whitewash our walls of the cattle housing, then we can keep lots of bacteria away from, right, getting infection to the animals. Phenol. Phenol or the carbolic acid is a very disinfectant which destroy the bacteria as well as fungus. So this is all about this session. Thank you very much.